Just north of Hollywood North, in what's called the Thompson-Nicola Regional District, you'll find the city of Kamloops. It's a part of the world that can almost look like, well, any part of the world. And that's one of the reasons it's become such a popular destination for the film industry. My name's Carlo Sia.
And my name's Todd Sullivan. Today we're meeting Cjay, a local writer, director, and producer who's a major force in getting films made in and around Kamloops with her company, Askem Productions.
What's a more creative job, director or producer? What does a producer even do? And how do you build a community of filmmakers from almost nothing? Let's see what Cjay has to say about that and more. Just north of Hollywood North. Well, thank you so much, Cjay, for sitting down with us and letting us pick your brain on the film industry in Kamloops here. Maybe you can start off by just telling us how you first got into the film industry.
Oh, man. So my cousin sent me a casting call to be a background person. And I was so excited because it was for Power Rangers, and my brother really loved Power Rangers growing up. So I tried out for it, and they said no. But then I got a call back because they wanted my truck, which was amazing. And I got all excited, and I tried to find an agent, and there was no agents around, and everybody from Vancouver was like, you're from Kamloops? No thanks. And so for a year, I just went back to my normal life. And then I Am Elizabeth Smart came out, and they needed a background person. So I once again applied, and I was all excited, and they said no. But they wanted my truck again. So I got in because of my truck. And
Wow.
that's how the whole thing kind of started.
Oh my gosh, okay, so your truck had credits before you got on them.
It really did. Well, I negotiated that I got to be in them too with my truck, but they wanted me because of my truck.
Nice. And what, can I ask what kind of truck you had that was so special for two of the films?
Everybody says that. It's a GMC Sierra. Just saying, Chevy, you can buy me a new one. Yeah, it's just a gold truck. It's got a bush bar on it and some lights, and so it looks like a good, off-roading vehicle, I guess, and they really enjoyed that, so, yeah.
Well, I mean, you've made it far since then, so now tell me about some of the short films that you got into. So the big films you tried to get into, but your breakout was from your short films that you wrote, right?
It wasn't. So after I had done I Am Elizabeth Smart on that show, they had asked if I knew anybody who wanted to do like garbage cleanup and like lock down gates, and I was like, I'll do it. And so I did it, and one of my jobs was to go to the film commissioner and some other places and give them a thank you for all the work that they had done for the film to have it shoot here. And so I went there, and I knew that I needed to meet Vicky and speak to her in person. So I waited 45 minutes for her to get off of her calls or whatever she was doing. And I met her, and I just told her that I was super excited about being in the industry, and I'd like to do anything that I could to stay in the industry. And we started making a relationship from there. And then a couple other shows came in, and I started working for her, actually doing photography and doing PAing and just anything that really needed to be done. And then she told me about this opportunity through the Women in the Director's Chair, where if you write a short film and you won, that they would fund it. And so I wrote a short film shortly after my grandmother died, and it was just kind of like an ode to her, because it was all about love and simplicity and everything opposite to what I was feeling at the time. And I submitted it, and I got into the contest, and then I won. So that was my very first experience with it. And that film actually went on to over 100 film festivals and won over 75 awards and nominations.
Wow. Now was that Stood Up? Or
that was Stood Up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched that, and it was surprisingly, it hit me in a way, yeah, for a short film. So that was, really cool. Good. Congratulations on the notoriety on that one and all the success on that one that launched you to where you are. Now, what is your company, Askem Productions, and you do as part of the film industry in town?
We do various things. So Askem Productions itself, we actually make films. So we've done commercials, we've done short films. We are planning our first feature film called Mary. That one's really exciting. I wrote it, and I will be directing it. Yeah, we do anything that really media needs. We fill in the gap. If a company comes through town and they need a crew position, we'll either find it or we'll fill it ourselves. If they need gear, we'll do it. We do recording weekly at Motion Church, and we help them put on their episodes, I guess you'd call it. And yeah, Did I answer that question?
Yeah, no, definitely. So what would, I guess when you're working on a film, what would a typical day-to-day look like for you in the industry?
Well, as a producer, which I'm doing right now, I've got a slate of films. A typical day-to-day means no sleep. You get up early, you come to the office, and it's a lot of meetings between the different departments because I'm responsible for helping put the film together right from the beginning right to the end. So I deal with like costumes and art and scheduling and the actors, and everything that you could imagine that goes into a film ends up coming through mine and my partner's hands. And at the end, we go through filming and we make sure that everything's good there. And then at the end, we end up going through post and doing our cut, and then it goes off to the networks that it lives on.
Wow. Okay. So it's quite a big role that you've got with your company.
Yeah.
And you also have Askem Talent as well. No?
So Askem Talent is my husband's company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's separate.
Completely
okay,
separate.
So you're the production side.
I'm the production
He's got
side.
the talent. Okay,
That's
so
correct.
together you're a powerhouse.
Yeah.
All right.
And actually it's interesting because when we first started and I was doing background, my sons and I really wanted to get into acting. And so we were chasing down our own options and everything, and we really couldn't find much on our own. So my husband decided to start Askem Talent just for us. But because I was working with Vicky, she found out about it and she convinced Dwayne to turn it into a full service company that actually supported all of Kamloops. And now he's got a huge roster and he represents union actors all over BC and background and has his hands in pretty much everything that comes through Kamloops.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy, that's pretty amazing.
It is.
And so what are some of the films or projects that you've worked on, to name a few?
Oh man, I should have had a list for this. So there's our own projects like Stood Up, and then there's other projects that come through. So there was one that came through last year called Unlocked by Neil Blomkamp, and now it's called Demonic, I think. We've done Jurassic World. We've done really anything that's come through here. We've Van Helsing, Project Blue Book. You're doing driving. What's that one? Tell me so I can say it. Oh yeah, Amazing Race. I was the PC on that one. Right now, through the company that I've got a contract with, we've just done Just Clicked, Listening to Love, Single and Ready to Jingle, and currently we're doing Killer Podcast, which is our first thriller here.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and I'm missing lots of titles. Yeah.
Do you, out of any of those, do you have a favorite that really stood out to you, and is there a particular reason?
I'd like to say whichever one we're currently working on, but Single and Ready to Jingle, we filmed it just last month, so that was February and March, and I absolutely loved it because it was very pretty because of all of the lights, and it was Christmassy, and even though we're not in a Christmas season, we still had the cold weather and the snow, and normally you end up shooting Christmas movies in July, so you're sweating and everybody's complaining because they're having to wear heavy gear to fake that it's cold outside and it's really blistering. And it turned out probably the best out of all of our films. And it'll be on this Christmas.
Nice. I did see, so I worked downtown where there was a section of filming.
Oh yeah.
And there was no snow the day that they were filming, and I saw them truck in a bunch of powder stuff. So
we sure did.
So is that something that you would take on in the production side of?
Yes.
Finding that? Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
We're responsible for absolutely everything. Everything that happens has come through our desk. Every single thing, from the people working there to the equipment that's used to the traveling to negotiating rates with people in town, everything goes through our desk.
Oh, wow. Holy, so it's quite a lot of work that comes through. Do you have a preference between producer-focused role or the more hands-on writing and directing role?
Producer's actually more hands-on than writing and directing. So with writing, for example, if we are going to get a script in, the scriptwriter maybe does 1 or 2 edits to it, and then it comes across my desk and I do all the rewrites at the end, and then we go and we film it. When it comes to directing, the director comes on probably about a week after we get our green light, and then we work with them to get the vision that they want in the box that we have chosen.
Oh, okay. So it's a lot more limiting than just directing. Than
It really is.
producing. Oh, okay.
And I mean, I love the creativity of being a director, and fortunately through Askem Productions, I get to write, produce, and direct, so I kind of get to do all of them. But it's never me that is the success. It's all based on my team. So we're really trying hard to curate our team into people that not only fit in well, but are talented and are willing to learn. A lot of them are locals and didn't have many skills, but they had the excitement to start in the industry, and they've blossomed, and they're some of our like hardest working and most talented people that we have.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's good to hear.
Trying to make it all local.
Yeah. Now, talking about local, would you agree that the film industry has grown recently in Kamloops?
Definitely. In the beginning, I had to go to Vancouver, to Kelowna, to basically all over BC just to have an opportunity to work in anything, whether it be in as a background player or an actor or as a PA, which is the person who does all the stuff on set, right? So they like get the garbage cans and they set up tables and tents and all that kind of thing. So
the gopher and everything.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel that it's going to continue to grow in Kamloops?
Definitely. I have big plans. Regardless
You're going to
of what
make
happens,
it grow.
I am making it grow.
Yeah.
We have this contract right now for 5 films, and then after that, who knows? I'm sure that they're going to want to renew with us. But on our own, we plan on doing our own feature films and bringing more attention here. And we just started a nonprofit called YKA Film Society, which is all about training up new filmmakers and bringing them into our little group and making more opportunities for people and really making Kamloops grow. In fact, our end goal is to have a studio that also has a school attached to it. And it'll be through YKA Film. And we hit up all the production companies in Vancouver and in LA, and we say, listen, it's going to be cheaper for you to shoot up here because we're going to give you better rates, plus you get the regional tax benefit, and you get to use some of our crew for free because it's all the people that are in the school learning, which brings them here, which gives employment and first credits to all of the people that are just starting out. So it goes hand in hand. And then eventually we'll have a film festival like the Banff Media World Festival, and we'll do training through that on a worldwide scale.
So you've talked about this 5-film deal that you have with another production company or some company. How did that come about? Was that you approaching them or just...
No. So my plan was to have all this happen in like 5 years. And Vicky actually contacted me. She had sent out a crew call for a PM, which is a production manager. And it's basically all the things that I hate doing. It's all the paperwork. It's all the stuff that like just saps me dry. And I told her I really wasn't interested and I'd rather produce or direct. And she convinced me to talk to them and to see what I could do. And so I talked to them and I told the guy that I was talking to that I was not interested really in PMing, but I would do it in order to get films in Kamloops, is because it provides opportunity, right? And I could get other people in. And after our conversation, that was only supposed to be 20 minutes, that lasted 2 hours, he offered me a producing job out of it. And so I got my own PM and I didn't have to do all the stuff I don't like to do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yep. And that was for 2 films. And then they renewed it for these 5. So altogether with that one company, it'll be 7.
Oh, wow.
And that's just what's guaranteed.
Yeah, and like they're happy with the location and with what we're able to provide here. That
apparently we're one of their favorites.
Wow.
Yeah. Now they could just be saying that to make me feel good and to make me keep doing what we're doing, but I truly believe that we are one of the favorites because what's coming off on camera is just getting better and better, and it already started at a high standard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Very exciting.
What do you feel that Kamloops might be missing that's potentially holding back the future of growth in the film industry here?
Good question. A studio and a school. And we plan on fixing that. So, I mean, it's probably like a 10-year plan to actually have a studio and a school here of our own. But if somebody else brought a studio in, then we would try to help them and try to see if we could fit in a school with that, or if like the Vancouver Film School or anywhere wanted to come up and merge, we would definitely consider that, because it's not about what we're doing in Kamloops, it's more about providing opportunity and making Kamloops grow. It's not things that we ever wanted to do in the beginning because we just want to be filmmakers. But if we want to be filmmakers and there's no opportunities for us and we have these skills, then there's less opportunities for people who don't have those skills yet. So we figured along the road to our own goals, why not bring Kamloops along and do something good for our community?
Wow. Yeah, I guess you kind of have to work together while the industry is still young before you start competing against, other agencies, right? So
yeah,
definitely
there's no
build each other up. Yeah.
There's
No,
lots
you
of scripts,
seem
lots of
to-
films.
Yeah, definitely be doing well in Kamloops, that's for sure.
That's not what I meant by no competition. I just mean like, it's not, when it comes to that, it's not competitive for us because we have our own things. So we're not fighting for like a piece of the pie from somebody else. We're entrepreneurial enough that we would just create our own opportunities, right? So.
What advice do you have for people that are just starting out on either working on a set or directing their first short film?
For people who just want to start out, the answer is yes. So if somebody says, hey, do you want to take up this opportunity? The answer is yes. And also chase after the no's. So if you want to be a writer, then start applying for writer mentorships and writer scholarships and all that kind of thing. Get all of the no's out that you can, because every time you apply for something and you get a no, that's one step closer to getting a yes, right? Like just don't give up. Find people like me who are invested in the industry and who want to make things grow, and ask them, what can I do, right? Offer your time for free. I mean, we did a lot of free work over the years because we started in basically 2017. And we would go to Kelowna and work for free. We would go to Vancouver and work for free. We would pay for our own gas, pay for our hotel. We would, just pound pavement just to learn and to get those skills, or go to school and pay somebody else to do it.
Now, along the school lines, in the industry, do you feel that, I guess, having that experience would be similar as going to school for so many years, or is there more of a benefit to doing that formal education and then going in? Like, is there one that's better than the other, or what do you feel?
There's not one that's better than the other. I think it depends on your own personality. For me, paying somebody to teach me and wasting that time, I mean, I'm not 20 years old, right? I've got kids that are 20 years old, and I get to work with them too. I feel like if you go to school, it's great because you end up getting the knowledge that you need. And as a producer, I'm so happy to hire people that know what they're doing, because without them, the people that don't know what they're doing can't learn. But I also feel like there's no reason to not get into the industry. If you don't have money for school, then just go volunteer, learn, become a PA. A PA does everything. They get to sit there and watch and lock up the roads and change garbage cans and set out food and set out tables and all that kind of stuff. So there's no opportunity, there's no reason not to get ahead. So it just depends on what your personal lifestyle is and how much you want to invest in it, whether it be money or whether it be, either way it's time, but I would say money or that free experience, which a lot of people aren't willing to do. Yeah.
With your company, I know we're talking about Kamloops, for this project that we're working on. How far do you reach with Askem Productions in terms of, where you started and where you're at now in the area, I guess?
It depends on what you're talking about, because we film in Kamloops. It's our brand. It's what we're trying to really put out there. It would be cheaper for us to finish or to film our feature film down in Vancouver, even though we would have to put ourselves up, because we don't have to put up any of the crew. They have all the resources down there, all the gear, everything that we need. Actors don't need to travel. Like, there's so many benefits to shooting in Vancouver, but we've decided to take that extra burden on to really help Kamloops grow, because we know once these different pieces of the puzzle are here, that more and more films are coming, and it's already happened. And it's all about Kamloops growing right now. Like, we have opportunity to do our own thing in the future, and either way we'll succeed and we'll make it. Like, our Mary, it's gonna go to all the film festivals around the world, VIFF and TIFF and Cannes and everywhere. That's the goal anyways. So we really have a worldwide reach. If you look at Stood Up, it was actually all over the world. Like, I don't think there's a continent that we didn't hit with it and win awards at. So worldwide, and yet still very local at the same time.
Wow. And so your goal, is to build up the talent here in the community so you can pull from that.
Yeah, not even so we can pull from it, just so we can have film here. I mean, how nice is it to be able to work and live in the same place, especially Kamloops. Like, in Vancouver, you have a lot of filmmakers who are making buck, but they don't have the lifestyle that they want up here. It's a more aggressive scene down there. Up here, it's more like a family, and you get to go home and you get to enjoy all the outdoors that you have in Kamloops, and all of the benefits of living in a small town and yet still doing something that's pretty big scale.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
So when you were asking about Stood Up, the first short film I actually ever filmed, I had only done background and a couple acting roles at that point. And I'm one of these people that gets really excitable and believes that things are going to happen for them. So I heard about this competition through StoryHive. Thank you, StoryHive. That if you wrote a short film, they would fund it. And I know how I am. And so I was like, I'm going to win this. So I planned out the whole production. I got a DP, I got all the crew together, I ordered all the equipment, absolutely everything. 3 days before we're supposed to go to camera, that's when we get the StoryHive announcement. I didn't get it. So I've got $20,000 worth of debt ready to go. And I just kind of prayed about it, and within a couple hours, somebody that I didn't know actually called me up and said, I'd like to give you $20,000 for you to film your short film. And I was like, what? But we ended up filming it. So it was my very first film, and I still have it on my hard drive. The sound guy, who was the only person paid at the time, said that the sound quality was really bad and that we couldn't do anything with it. And I had no skills for editing. I didn't know anybody. Like, I literally was just a background person at this time. And so it just sat in my hard drive. But when we got this opportunity to start doing actual film, we upgraded our computer, and now we have the ability to edit. So I got into it, and I'm editing it now. But that short film, the script ended up going around the world. It ended up winning, I think, 13 different awards at like 17 or 19 different film festivals. I can't quite remember. And so I pursued that, and through the Women in the Director's Chair, I actually elaborated on it and turned it into a feature film. Part of it's based on my own past as a homeless teenager. Part of it's based on when I became an outreach worker and I started helping all the women here in town. And then part of it is just narrative, because you got to make it pretty, right? So I wrote this film, and we are going to be filming it in November 28th. We're going to go to camera. And yeah, we've got some pretty big names that we're looking at, and we're excited to bring to Kamloops, but I can't say that yet. Can't say who yet.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So when you say that, this script or the other short film that's kind of toured the world, have you gone to these film fests to kind of celebrate those achievements, or are you just watching from afar and checking your...
Well, it happened right at COVID that we went to all the film festivals, so we were able to go to one beforehand before it got closed down, and that was the Women's International Film Fest. St. John's Women's International Film Festival. And it was amazing because it was a full theater. Everybody loved the film. I actually got a standing ovation. It was actually quite amazing. It really, once you see all your hard work and everything put on screen and see audiences actually enjoying it, it is an overwhelming experience. Like, it's really touching. So. Well,
and that must make you feel good, just what you're doing here in town, to see that you're creating so many jobs for people to stay local and work in an industry that's up and coming here. And yeah, you're part of that growth. So that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
We actually employ about 65 to 85 people per show, and those are like on a full-time basis here in town. And plus, all of our money ends up going back into hotels. We have a lot of accommodations that we end up doing into food, into crafty. Our employees that come from out of town, the few that we still have remaining, they end up spending the money in town too. So it's a really good payoff for Kamloops. I think we figured about $750,000 per film ends up staying in town.
Oh.
Yeah.
And your goal with your vision is to basically just bring in, I guess, like the acting talent from out of town, or are you wanting everything done within Kamloops at some point?
Well, see, you want big names that aren't from Kamloops, but at the same time, my husband, Dwayne, who owns Askem Talent, he's really putting into having local actors. And so I like to use them as much as we can. You got to throw in a name every once in a while, but everyone else can be local. And we use local background, and we really try to, even our locations, instead of saying, if there's a location, for example, the Vic, we ended up using them for Just Clicked. Instead of having the fictional name that we had written in the script, we asked them if we could use their name. And so now the Vic is actually on television in a fake town in the States. But still, we're still showcasing our locations so people from Kamloops can end up seeing them and recognizing them.
And are you finding in the films that you're doing, does Kamloops usually represent an American city, or do you see the switch to making it more of a Canadian city happening? Like, what do we represent here in Kamloops?
We represent the States, for sure, because that's what our current market is, and also overseas, there's quite a bit internationally, but they like to see the United States just because more people know about the United States. So Portland, Oregon is one that we like to play. Because of our front street on Victoria, we really have that look with the brownstone buildings and everything. And then currently we're playing Washington. I know that we play Utah a lot because of the outskirts, how it's all desert. I Am Elizabeth Smart, I believe, was Salt Lake City is what we played. So we really play a lot of American. And Afghanistan, we play lots of places, but never Kamloops, BC.
No.
No.
Well, maybe one day we'll be big enough once you, you build up the name of Kamloops.
Maybe.
Well, thank you so much. I think that kind of answers all my questions. Thanks, Cjay, for sitting down with us and letting me pick your brain. And
Definitely.
I am so excited to see what Askem Productions can do in this area and to build up our film community. So.
Awesome, thank you. And it's been my pleasure.
We're good with...
You're gonna be in this shot. You're over there. But...
How much are you getting in there? Because he can clean up that corner.
Maybe we should put something outside to stop him from coming in.
This is the least important angle.
It's just me.
It's just
nobody cares about me.
So I wouldn't, destroy your guys every day. It's like whatever.
Have you seen how destroyed this place is?
Yeah, well, let's do another 10.
Yeah.
We got our outro though, so we can just splice in.
Yeah.
What about the date for Mary?
Oh, no, because if I say it and I don't film it, then the world will
That's
hold it
okay.
against me.
Some stuff that come up through the interview
Yes.
is like, just like we've asked in the past, like kind of like favorite projects to work on, things that we're really proud of, although maybe that's already been covered to a certain degree. I'm personally very curious what your role would have been within like Jurassic Park. What role?
Boring.
What role do you think?
I could throw some real good stuff at you. I was homeless at one point, so I really grabbed it from like nothing.
I love it. I love it. Well, I mean.